Hi, it's Barbara here. I'm going to read to you the book I recently wrote about my mother, Heeding the Caregiver Call, the story of Barbara Ella Milton Sr. and Alzheimer's disease. And I'm going to read the book from front to back. And I'm going to start today by reading the cover, the back of the book. And I'm going to read through the dedication, the acknowledgements, the endorsements, up to part 1, which is the introduction. And I decided I was going to read the entire book to people. It is my gift to everyone. And I will put all of these up on YouTube. I will also place them on my website, which is www.drbarbaraemiltonjrlcsw.com. That's also the place where you can find information about the upcoming author talks, book talks, meet and greets that I'll be doing through April and May. And also gives you updates on my health status, because I know lots of people are concerned about my bladder cancer journey. And it will also has a store where you can purchase this book and other books that I've written. But let's start today with Heeding the Caregiver Call, the story of Barbara Ella Milton Sr. and Alzheimer's disease, my beloved mother. The back cover says, in the fall of 2015, Barbara Sr. called her only child to ask her for help. Unbeknownst to her family, Barbara Sr. was already in the grips of Alzheimer's. This book tells the story of Barbara Jr.'s journey as her mother's caregiver and shares insights into the physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual impacts of caregiving while fighting her own cancer. It also provides practical information to others who assume caregiving roles for their loved ones. Follow this mother and daughter's journey through resentments and regrets, forgiveness and faith, laughter and love. Barbara Jr. promised her mother on her deathbed that she would tell her story. Here it is. Heeding the Caregiver Call. So I published a book through exlibris.com, Exlibris Press. The contents of the book is about 70 essays here. They're broken into 6 parts. And some of the topics are introducing my mom, my mother, warning signs, the call for help, powers of attorney, inheriting mom's life, symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, memory loss, loss of activities, safety issues, the car, food issues, the struggle for independence, long-term care, forgiveness, checking out nursing homes, mommy's 74th birthday, goodbyes to our Camden home, admissions day, the surrender of our cat, no falls allowed, visual reminders, day trips, team meetings, serenity, cleaning out mommy's house, disenfranchisement, unwelcome bed sores, forgetting boot, self-care, closed eyes, holding hands, funerals, eulogies, headstones, visions in my dreams, a year without my mother, an epilogue, family and friends reflections, a gratitude list, and resources. Some of the topics that you'll find in this book. Acknowledgements. I survived caregiving and writing this book because of the love and support I have received from the following people. Kay Osborne, the love of my life. You've been with me every step of the way on this journey. I'm so grateful for your partnership. You are my rock. We did it. We are putting Mommy's story into the world. The Milton Watson family. Mommy was her happiest when connected to you. Thank you for being there when I needed you most. The Osborne Kirkman family, for your steady love and support. Mommy's friends from her bowling league, who continue to show up and make her laugh. The staff and administration of Right at Home, most especially Miss Sandy Simmons, for your steadfast companionship and care of my mother. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The staff and administrators of Inglemore Center, Genesis Health, for giving my mother good care and a safe new home. The doctors, nurses, techs, clerks, and staff of Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and the Hackensack University Medical Center Urology Group for saving my solo kidney from bladder cancer and keeping me safe through COVID-19. All my friends and fellows, your concern, thoughts, and prayers sustained me and helped me to keep going. Elizabeth Hill, MSW, for guiding me through my health crises, my grief, and in the completion of this book. The staff at Ex Libris Publishing, in particular Chris Orleans, for his patience and belief in my book, and Iris Johansson for her skillful shepherding of it through the publication process. Endorsements. A triumph in caregiving. Dr. Milton fully captures the partnership that is the Alzheimer's journey, balancing her mother's fierce desire for independence with her own duties as a caregiver. Dr. Milton paints a very real picture of what life is really like for a caretaker while honoring her mother with the dignity she deserved. Dr. Christian Paul White, New Jersey Institute for Successful Aging, Rowan University. Dr. Milton writes a very personal account of a shared journey through life to death, to life again. It's a story about healing bonds once broken between herself and her mother while dealing with the challenges of her own ongoing battle with illness. She shares memories that are gifts God gives us so we can know that death is not the final word. May all who read this book be blessed to discover that truth as they navigate their own journeys with life and love and caregiving. Bishop Pat Bumgardner, Metropolitan Community Church of New York. An invaluable caregiver guidebook told through deeply personal stories that will resonate with all caregivers. The book tells a clear, compassionate, and ultimately encouraging portrait of a mother and daughter's graceful journey through Alzheimer's dementia. Christine Allen, President and co-founder of the Act Now Foundation. Carrie Lopez, Executive Director and co-founder of the Act Now Foundation. The Act Now Foundation will benefit from the sale of this book. A portion of each sale will be donated to further the work of the Act Now Foundation Dementia Center. The dedication. To my beloved mother, Barbara Ella Milton Sr., gone too soon. Prologue. Dear Mommy, I began writing our book after your birthday, May 31st, 2019, when you would have been 75 years old. I miss you every day. The grief I feel is like a big hollowing out of my core. That's the space you used to occupy. I knew it would hit me hard, but I just wasn't prepared for the severe emptiness of it. It was impossible to write anything in the first months after your death, but then I did begin to look over all the Facebook postings, notes, emails, and messages that I had accumulated over the years I cared for you. I also reviewed the audio and video clips we made. I know how much you hated the fact that I always seemed to have a camera in your face, but I'm grateful that I did. It's all I have now. It's why I knew that I could make a book about our journey through your illness. I hired a coach to help me. I knew I needed some accountability in getting the work done. I told you about her when I returned from Puerto Rico in mid-January 2019, and I presented you with a mock version of our book and placed it in your hands. That was the last day we talked to each other, the last days I saw your eyes, and the last day we consciously connected. I will never forget the look on your face when we discussed the book and the fact that we were actually going to write it. You seemed pleased that we were going to tell our story. I felt like that made you happy. Our friends said that they weren't surprised that the very next day you closed your eyes and started to transition from this life to the next. They tell me you put two and two together and knew our book would make you immortal. That must have been a comfort to you. You will live on because I'm telling people our story. I promised you I would, and I am. The journey we took together was hard. I really didn't know what I was doing. I know it's the natural order of things for a child to bury a parent, but when I was diagnosed with bladder cancer and it became more aggressive, I thought that you would surely outlive me. You know, we've seen it both ways in our family. Your mother buried 3 of your brothers, and then your baby sister buried her. When you were diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia in 2015, it was the first time I had really considered that you might die before me. I also realized that you would need to rely on me for care for some extended period of time of your life. I thought that assuming the role of caring for you and handling all your affairs would surely kill me. I was scared. You were too. But somehow we made it through. Our book tells the story of some of the issues we faced, some of the things we learned, and of the many feelings we felt on our journey. Your first call asking me for help changed my life and threw us into an intense relationship that, at the outset, was quite bumpy and scary, but ultimately resulted in a beautiful restoration of our mother-daughter bond. Our bond had been fractured for years, but our success with the adversity we faced through your decline in dementia moved us on to a place of restoration and healing. We took leaps of faith and deepened our trust over the course of 5 years. The process changed us both for the better. What became clear during this journey was that you and I blazed some new trails and did some things differently. I know you are hopeful that people will read this book and find it helpful to them. You wanted people to learn more about Alzheimer's based on our lived experience of it. You felt strongly that people needed to see the African American experience of living and even dying from this awful disease too. I can hear you now. Some parts of our book sound like your daughter, and some parts sound like your daughter, the social worker. It was hard for me to stay in one frame of mind. I think that was a way I coped with the grief too. I had the ability to switch from my active participation as your daughter in the story to my impartial observation of the story and back again as needed. I made you a promise on what became your deathbed, and it has come true. Heeding the Caregiver Call is done. My way of getting through this past year of grief and the loss of you in my life was more bearable because I was writing your story. This book has kept me close to you. It was my lifeline to you, as are my memories, my visits to your grave, and my encounters with you in my dreams. I hope I made you proud. Hugs and kisses. Boot.